So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Aspiring for More. Today, we're talking with Dawn from 920 Design. She was also featured on Undercover Billionaire, which was a show based in Erie about a guy coming in and building a business in 90 days with just what he has in the community. And she was part of that as well. Today, though, we're talking mostly about her design business, 920 Design. We talk about her journey of starting that and the ups and downs and how she's currently running it. We talk about saying yes instead of saying no and kind of the debate on that culture. We also talk about being able to not judge yourself and just be free about what you're doing and confident in getting the job done, that you're just not worried about outside voices. So guys, please stay tuned. And if you're listening to this in the audio form, so like on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, then there's going to also be a bonus episode talking about her time on the show Undercover Billionaire, which was a ton of fun for me because I loved watching the show every time it aired. It was on the Discovery Channel if you haven't seen it. But stay tuned for that to be released after this podcast. And guys, enjoy. Hey, Dawn, how's your day going today?
It's still a little early to tell.
Yeah.
How's yours?
Pretty good. Are you a morning person?
I am.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
How early is early for you?
Well, this morning was 2:30. Yeah.
And why?
I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you're like not like one of the morning people where it's like I want to be up at 2:30 because I have so much. It's just like
No,
you just wake up.
I generally usually get up at 4 o'clock every morning.
Dang.
Between 3:30 and 4, and that's when my day starts. So, but I'm usually in bed by 8:20.
I was gonna say, how is that nightlife transition into that?
What's
But
a nightlife?
yeah, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because like I work from like 10 to 6, and then afterwards I like get a second wind to like get stuff done, and then I'll stay up till like, it's not super late, but like 11:30, and then I usually sleep until like 7-ish, 7:30.
I haven't seen 7 o'clock sleeping wise in a long time.
Wow.
But I'm okay with it.
Kudos to you.
Yeah. And after work, I mean, I have my second wind. I come home, I cook dinner, we do homework, we play, have a dance party in the kitchen, and get ready for bed, and sometimes watch TV. Depends.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Just kind of mellow.
Yeah.
So once you're done with work, you're kind of like done with work for the day.
Sort of. A lot of times it depends on what I've got going on. Sometimes I spend my evenings designing or, sending out invoices and estimates and planning things out and researching, and sometimes phone calls and
Okay.
emails.
So it all kind of depends. But
Yeah.
because I know some people when they do their business, it's like as soon as I leave the office, I'm done. I'm checking out.
Right.
And that works for people. But.
Yeah. But when you run your own business and you don't have like employees who have set tasks to do those things for you, it kind of falls on you. So you wear all the hats.
Exactly.
But when I'm at home, I want to devote the time to my family.
Well, that's awesome.
As much as I possibly can, which is why I get up so early in the morning, because that's quiet time to do those things without interruption.
Exactly.
Because nobody's up at 4 a.m.
That's true. Yeah, I know a few people that's kind of their method. And yeah, they have kids and they have other things going on. So that time is very valuable. So I can kind of see where I'll probably end up transitioning to that as life goes on.
Okay.
So before we get too far into it, I want to explain who you are. Most people probably know you from the Discovery show you were on, Undercover Billionaire. But before any of that, who were you? What were you doing? How'd you get into the design space?
So I guess I've always had a knack for it, but that wasn't what my career goal was. I wanted to be an FBI agent from the time I was like 4. Yeah.
Wow.
My dad bought me my first gun when I was 12, and I actually moved to Erie from Cleveland to go to college, and my major was criminal justice, and I had planned to run with that. But the universe had different plans for me, and after my son was born, I was a stay-at-home mom because he was born really early, and his dad and I had decided that I would stay home with him and Caden to work or not work, and he would work. And I got bored, so I went back to design school, and I had been designing for friends for free and stuff. And then when he and I split up, I started painting furniture as kind of like an outlet to kind of channel my negative energy, if you will. And it turns out I was pretty good at it. And then I just decided to, well, let's take a leap and make this a real thing. And I did, and that's how 920 was born.
920 was born. So that first job you had, was it under the 920 when you knew you were going to do it, or?
No.
Okay.
My first custom job came from my realtor, actually.
Oh.
So I put my house up for sale and wanted to just downsize a little bit because I had a large house, and after getting divorced, it was a lot to take care of by myself. I learned how to do so much, like put gutters back on my house and fix leaky faucets. And
valuable information.
Yes, I was starting my lawnmower with a screwdriver because the pool had broken, and I'm like, I can do this myself. I don't need anybody's help. And the only thing I didn't do, I did have a pool boy.
Oh,
yeah.
You're starting the lawnmower with the screwdriver, but there's the pool boy.
Yeah.
Cleaning the pool.
Well, yeah, that was like the biggest thing I hated about that house. So I put my house on the market, and I told my realtor, I'm like, look, this is my studio. I'm not cleaning it. And it is what it is. So I know you got to show the house, but I will try to keep it as organized as possible. But if I've got things going in here, I'm not going to like tidy everything up. The rest of the house is perfect. Deal with it.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. And then, she had people walking through the house. Then when she would do showings, there would be an open house, and they'd be like, wow, that's great work. And she actually gave me my first custom job.
Oh, wow.
My realtor, yeah. I did a headboard for her for one of her houses, and she loved it. And she was probably 920's first client, and she still is a client.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You had that. And how long after that first client did it take till you established 920?
A year.
A year?
A year.
Okay. And what's kind of the reasoning behind the name?
It's my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
so how that happened was when I was going for financing, my banker told me I needed to have a business plan. And I'm like, but why? Because I've never taken a business class in my life. And I did not know how to do any of that. Nothing. I was like, but I just give me money. I'll make it work.
Yeah.
And apparently the world doesn't work like that. So I wrote out my business plan, and I was like, well, I need a name. So I designed 3 different logos and names for the business and put it out to all of my best friends, like my closest friends. And they're all like, oh my God, we love the 921. And I'm like, okay, so that's what we'll go with. And because there was an arrow in it.
Okay.
Originally, there was an arrow in it, and it was a symbolization of moving forward. And they're like, where did you come up with that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are my best friends. You don't realize it's my birthday? And I guess nobody really realized that because I write it NINE 20, and it's smushed together.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So it's kind of plays a mind trick on you when you're
a little
reading
bit.
it.
A
That's
little
cool,
bit.
though.
Yeah.
But it's one of those names that has a cool history to it.
It does.
I mean, when someone asks you, obviously,
yeah,
you tell the story. When it came to jumping into the bit, like, what made you, like, were you getting job after job after job, and you were like, let's do this full time, or?
No. When I originally opened my first store out in Northeast, I expected, and this was very naive of me, I expected people to just come in and want me to paint things for them and and buy things. I spent a lot of money opening that store and fixing the space up and everything. And I just expected, but this was also at a time where, the economy was a little bit lower and retail had taken a huge nosedive. And I ended up closing my first store within a year and a half and thought I had failed.
Wow.
And I cried and I was like, how I can't go back to bartending. I don't want to do that. And so I got a real job with a friend of mine who runs a print company. He does screen printing and embroidery and stuff like that, also out in Northeast. And I worked for him for a week and I hated it. It was awful. I would come home every day and just hate life. And then my phone started ringing and people wanted me to do custom work. And I'm like, well, where was this?
Yeah, when you had the storefront.
And I quit after a week. I said, look, I'm sorry. I really do have to give this another go. I know I can make it. And he's like, I get it. Go forth. And I did. And I've been booked solid ever since.
Really?
Yep.
And now is that just off the back of like word of mouth referrals?
That's all my business is word of mouth referrals. Wow. I don't do any real formal advertising. What I do as far as advertising is my friends' kids or my friends who need donations, like my friend Susan, her son plays McDowell hockey. I sponsor an ad in the McDowell hockey book every year for her son. My friend Jamie, her son plays in the band at Harbor Creek, and I sponsor an ad for that. That's how I guess I kind of advertise, but I don't really look at it as advertising because I actually hate making the ads for those things.
Oh, really?
But that's my avenue of giving back one of my avenues of giving back to the community, because I want to support my friends. How do you expect somebody to support you if you don't support them?
I mean, for sure. And I mean, if it seems like it's not even for the advertisement, it's just
not.
For the support, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can wrap it into as a business expense, and kind of works all out like that.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing about the design work, what do you think? Because I want to get into the podcast where it's just talking about general business practice, because my audience isn't like one industry, so it's not about design. But I do want to talk a little bit about your kind of working behind design. Like, what is the hardest parts about it? Because I do think some of that does transcend about like getting to know clients. What do you think the hardest part about your job is in the design world?
That's a tough question. I think the hardest part is managing everybody, because working with clients can be really difficult, but it's also very rewarding. I really do try to take the time to get to know my clients and their needs before I just go and come up with a design and they hate it. I've only ever really had that happen once, where I had to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. I really do like to know my clients before I, pick their things and pick their rooms and decide on that for them. So I guess keeping all of my clients straight is really difficult, but I remember all their dogs' names.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a dog person?
I am a dog person.
So yeah, just label all their files by their dog's name.
Right,
and
yes,
then,
I should. And if they don't have a dog, then it's like, oh.
Then at the end, you give them a dog in the grand reveal.
Right, yes. And here's your new puppy.
This way I can keep connected. What is that process like, though, getting to know a client? Like, how do you work with their vision? Do you try and insert your own kind of unique design?
Both.
Okay.
I have some clients I go to, they have very specific ideas in their head and they just want me to put it all together and execute. And I'm fine with that. It's not as much work for me per se. But then I have clients who are like, we just want whatever you think. And then I have to present them with the ideas.
Gotcha.
And generally they either love it or they're like, well, we don't like this. Let's tweak it a little bit.
And I think that part of the business is what I really want to focus on, because when you have that customer who doesn't know what they want, you're out there really trying to sell them the finished product.
Right.
What that remodel is going to look like. And I think that's generally what most businesses are doing, whether it's, hey, I'm going to be selling you on how much more business you'd get through social media, or how you're going to look in these pair of shoes that I want to sell you. How do you just do it on your own kind of creativity? Like, I know what I like, so I'm confident they're going to like it? Or are you really trying to dissect what they want? Like, how do you sell them that value at the end?
Well, I guess before I'm selling them a product, I'm selling me.
Okay.
And I'm getting to know them, building a relationship with them, building a rapport. I run very high off energy and vibes. I know that's super weird, but sometimes like you don't mesh well with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's it's going to be a difficult job. So generally I've been very fortunate to work with awesome people. And I like to explain my processes, make them feel comfortable with me first. Because I feel like that's really important when you are working with people on a one-on-one basis. You want their trust, you want their confidence, you want, to please them. And that's really like why I love my job so much, is at the end, they're very excited and they love it and they're happy and they go tell their friends. And that's how business keeps going.
Yeah.
But I really like to look at their house, look where their style is, see how what I can do for them will mesh with the rest of their house.
Okay.
because it's when you have one room finished and it's great and gorgeous and the rest of your house is like wah wah wah. Yeah. So you don't want to go completely beyond. You want to keep with the rest of the flow of their house. I mean,
Gotcha.
unless it's the whole house that you're doing.
Yeah.
Then
Do you do that often, or is it no?
I do one room at a time. Like
Okay.
right now I have an ongoing client who they just bought their house, and it was really funny how I got this client. I got this message to my business page, and she's like, I know this is going to be really weird when I say this, but do you live on this street? And I said, yeah, that's weird. And she's like, hi, I just bought the house at the end of the street. I thought that was you getting out of your truck the other day. Will you come down and look at my house, please? And I was like, oh, I love that house, and it's awful, and I'm so glad. I will be right down. And I literally went down that night after dinner. So I've done 1, 2, 3. I've done 4 rooms for them so far, and I'm about to start on their daughter's room. So, and then we have plans for their living room, and we have plans for their kitchen, and they're great clients and friends, actually. Our kids go to the same school, and our youngest, her oldest and my youngest are in the same grade. So
that's perfect. Yeah, and then you can really grow. And with that kind of situation, you have somebody who you get to know intimately through outside kind of thing. So it seems to me like getting to know the customer and actually building a relationship is key. A
lot of my customers have become friends.
Okay.
And that, I know it's really hard to, it's not always great to blur the lines between business but most of my friendships have been formed because of business. It's better to form a relationship on business than a business built on friendships, because that doesn't always work out. And I know that's a quote sort of paraphrased from somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody really smart.
Well, we'll just attribute it to you then.
Okay.
But no, because I feel that way a lot, because I do like image consulting work. I do some tailoring, but a lot of it is like opinion based. I'm trying to help people dress better, but I do feel like this just like, let's just like become friends with this person. I feel like it makes more sense, but excuse me, I think a lot of times it's taught in business, you want to keep that distance.
Right, exactly. And that makes it cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really difficult when you do own your own business. You take everything personally because everything reflects on you. So for example, like I have no religious opinion. I do, but I don't ever talk about it. Political, I have no political opinions. I do, but I don't talk about them. And like certain issues. But you have to maintain a certain friendship with your clients to know what they want.
Yeah.
Like you can't just walk in and say, and this is what we're going to do, and I have no idea who you are or what your needs are or what your desires are. Like you need to know those things in order to quality design for your client.
Yeah, it's that building of a trust.
Yes.
Especially when you're getting into something as personal as someone's home.
Right.
Like it's one thing if you're coming into like their business and you're teaching them how their office should be set up.
Exactly.
Or someone comes in and you're just trying to sell them like any kind of off-the-shelf product. But when you're in someone's home, like this is where they're going to be coming back to. You're going to want them to trust you as wholeheartedly as possible.
Right. And no person is cookie cutter. What works for person A isn't going to work for person B.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can't just impose your system.
Yes, it's a case-by-case basis. You have to design case by case.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you said you don't have religious opinions, you don't have political opinions, but you do. Is that something you just keep from business friends and then have personal friends that you get into topics like that? Or
no,
is it
I don't
it's always kind of just shut off?
Unless there's alcohol involved, I don't want to talk about religion or politics.
Gotcha.
Because most of my intelligent conversation, like those deep things, come from having one beer.
Just one will do, yeah.
Let's talk about politics after one beer.
Okay. Because I see myself doing that. Because like I have some close friends that I don't really do much work for, but like I get into like deep, heated discussions because I know afterwards we're going to be friends. It's not an issue. But I do keep like a business friendship with those that I'm like, I'm not going to tell you my political opinions because it's not going to produce any kind of help with our business.
No, it won't. And in fact, it could be a detrimental thing to your business. But I really just don't care about religion and politics enough to really voice my opinion on them.
Gotcha. It's not a strategic move. It's just a personal interest.
Yeah.
Not what you're into.
I care more locally, I guess.
Okay.
As far as stuff like that goes. I care about the advancement of my town. I care about, situations that happen in my town. And my town being Northeast and Erie in general. That's like, I don't know. You got to think locally before you think globally.
Exactly. And it's not like there's not plenty of other things you can talk about with people.
Right. Exactly. Like the weather.
Yeah, exactly. It changes every day. There's always something new to say.
Yes, exactly.
Now, you said before with working by yourself, like your own business is very personal. It's all about you. Do you see that as a hindrance, like trying to scale your business because it's just you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's funny because Glenn, before I knew Glenn was a billionaire and such a brilliant businessman, had mentioned this to me. He's like, you need to grow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're out of your mind, buddy. I don't want to grow. But he's not wrong. He was not wrong in the discussion that we had about it. And I've been pondering it ever since we had that discussion. Yes, it is really hard as a one-woman show. I do have help. My mom runs my antique store for me when I'm out on jobs, but she's my mom. She's not a paid employee and doesn't expect to be paid. She gets paid with my love and gratitude, and she's totally cool with that. My daughter, if she's there on the weekends, so I can be in the back working on client pieces, because it's really difficult to have two separate businesses.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. My daughter will run the shop. I'm banking her hours to help her buy a car when she turns 16.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Like, I'm not just going to buy. Actually, it's really working to my advantage, quite honestly, because, every time she takes money to go buy her coffee or, her snack or her lunch or whatever, I dock it. So, like, she doesn't realize. She's like, Mom, how much money did I make this summer? And I'm like, well, if you hadn't have spent X amount at the Bean, you would be X amount up. But you're not. So here's where you're at. And she's like, what? But it's your job to feed me. Yeah, that's right. I fed you breakfast. You needed more.
Yeah, I don't need to feed you all these extra things.
Right.
This is extracurricular activity.
Yes. And it's okay for me to have a $7 coffee, but you don't need a $7 coffee.
And once you go out and you start doing your own thing, buy as many cup of coffees as you want.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Now, so the mindset of growing and being not just the entrepreneur in your business, but the CEO working like on the whole scope of it.
Right.
How is that different for someone who is so much like it's your creativity you're selling?
Yeah.
How do you?
And that's where I was at, because Glenn's like, you should be having, you can pump out more pieces if you have people working for you doing the work. Well, yes, that's true, but I have a hard time even letting people base coat for me. I've had a few interns, and I did have an assistant for a little bit. And I'm a terrible boss. Like, I don't really have too many mean bones in my body. And I know you're not going to learn and grow from your mistakes unless I tell you that you're making a mistake. I feel like my approach is very wrong in that.
Gotcha.
So I have a hard time even letting somebody base coat for me. So where I'm at with painting furniture, because that is a big bulk of my business and designing furniture for people. It's not me. People come to me for me. So if I'm having somebody else paint their pieces, they're not getting me.
Yeah.
And that's where I struggle. I struggle with that. Like, it's not my vision. It's not my artistic ability. It's not my hands doing the work. And that's the satisfying part to me, is I'm the one who is presenting a client with this piece.
Yeah.
So as cliche and silly as it sounds, like, a little piece of me is in everything that I do.
For sure.
And I don't want, Joe over here, I'm giving this to you, but Joe painted it.
Gotcha.
Type of thing.
I see. So it's like trying to find out like that one thing that you enjoy doing and then hiring all the other stuff out so that part is, because
right.
And the other thing is you probably enjoy what you do. You don't want to just give that up.
Nope.
Because I know I was talking to a girl the other day. She does like social media management and stuff, and I was like, well, and I was having the same kind of conversation. I was like, you should like subcontract as much as you can out so that you can just work on getting more and more clients. But for her, she doesn't like the going out and pitching to people and getting new clients. Like, she likes the actual building the businesses, the brands, the ideas, the pictures. So it was like, she was like, I don't know how to do that. And it's hard to kind of step back and be like, maybe you even need to hire someone who is the CEO of the business.
Right, exactly. Like, if I had somebody who was working on my business so I could be in my business, that would be so much better for me. Like, if I'm driving, my daughter will answer my emails for me. She'll answer my Facebook messages and my emails for me. And I just dictate to her what to say.
Yeah.
Because literally that's the only time where I'm not go, 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 go. I can't stand like sitting on my phone while I have a paintbrush and a paint can open. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I concentrate very much while I'm working. I mean, the music's got to be going, but I would rather be doing that. So I make Caden do it all.
So yeah, how do you find all of the people to keep the train moving while you're just focused as like conducting where you want it to go?
Right. It's I don't know. I did just hire somebody to help me with my social media. So that'll work. But I mean, like, I even do my own books and my taxes.
Oh, wow.
I do everything.
Now, is that because you want to have that sense, or you just haven't found someone you trust to take that over?
Both, I think.
Okay.
Plus, I like to learn. I like to learn new things. Like, anybody who, like, I had new carpet installed the other day in my living room. I actually sat there and wanted to learn how to do that. Like, if you will take the time to learn, to show me, and so I can learn. I love to learn new things.
Yeah.
So, but doing my taxes, it's something I've done even before the business started. So it just kind of seemed like, but I think I might be heading towards a time where I need to find an accountant to do that stuff for me. But here's the thing. I'm a very, very small business. I mean, I do a lot of work, but I keep my prices very low.
Gotcha.
Because I work with all sorts of budgets. So, and I have some overhead and I have bills to pay, business bills, personal bills. Like, the general, like, consensus is, oh, you own your own business, you must have money. I am broke. I mean, I'm not broke, but by golly, it's not like I can just take a day off anytime I want and
for sure
go shopping at the mall and buy a whole new wardrobe. I mean, that would be pointless anyway because I'm always covered in paint. But I don't have time for that. I am constantly working.
Yeah.
And it averages out that maybe I don't even make minimum wage.
Really?
I truly don't.
When you average it.
When you average it out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, especially when you're a solopreneur, like every day you're not working is a day you're not making money.
Exactly.
So how do you build a team, and especially in your situation where it's like so creative based, how do you build a team of people that get your vision, who can do exactly how you direct them? So yeah, if you made a design for a dresser and they just completely made it, it is you going to them because it was your idea. It's just not your physical hand painting it, but it's finding those people. And do you find that hard being in Northeast Erie area? Like, do you find a lot of people who have those creative skills that you could hire?
There's actually a lot of furniture painters.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And would have never guessed.
I do believe we all have very distinct styles. There's several who are more well-known than others. And we all have very different distinct styles. And I think we appeal to a certain style of person.
Gotcha.
So it's not hard to find people but it's definitely a process, and each painter definitely has their own technique and style and process and how we learned and how we do the things that we do. So I would never ask another creative to come work for me. I would rather say, would you work with me?
Yeah.
Because
and that almost doesn't seem like too bad of an idea, to where if you bring in someone with their own particular style, then that opens you up to new people you can market with their style.
Right.
So if they're working underneath your brand, you take a commission of what they sell, but that way you're not worried about, they're going to make my name look bad because they're working on their name. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So,
and I've done some collaboration with other creatives, and it's not that it's bad. It's, I don't know.
What's the work being put in for what you're getting out almost.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it to do that, like, as a real thing.
like have like a full-time collaborator with you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, especially in the creative space, and I like to think I'm creative, but I'm not in the creative painting, art, redesign kind of space. It is super important to give people the liberty to be their own creative self.
Right.
Because you don't want to stifle that for them.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, you just have a painter at that. Like, it's not like a person that paints a wall.
Yeah.
That's what you're hiring.
I find that very relaxing.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You do?
I sit with my hand in my pocket and it's great.
What about like cathedral ceilings though?
F that.
Yeah, I hate that.
I'm terrified of heights.
Really?
Yes, getting up on a ladder is it terrifies me. So
I used to do construction for a while, and I would do a lot of painting, and because I was the youngest on the crew, I was doing all the grunt work jobs. So I was painting the cathedral ceilings, and my neck never hurt so bad at the end of the day than being like in the water. It was terrible.
I have a tendency to always somehow get paint all over in my hair, everywhere.
Yeah.
Like my dad was the neatest painter.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes. My dad was Mr. Perfect Neat Man, always, not a lick of paint on him. My mom and I covered head
Just
to toe.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I usually start off the process very neat and like everything's taped, and then once the paint's open, it's
right,
to the wind.
exactly. Yeah. And if I get it on my hand, I'm constantly like going like this and like, so I'll have like handprint right across my chest or right on my thighs. And then I walk out into public and people are like, huh?
What are you doing?
But then,
Start your own clothing line though.
do you know how much they sell painted pants for at Nordstrom?
Probably a lot.
Like $300.
There you go.
Yeah.
920 design pants.
Right.
There you go.
With the rips and all.
Exactly. That would go.
I don't know. It's time to buy new work jeans this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you usually buy your jeans?
Am I allowed to say American Eagle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care.
They're my favorite pairs of jeans.
Really?
My two pairs of work jeans that I wear on the regular are from American Eagle, and they are my favorite. And they are so tattered, and no, like I'm seriously getting emotional about these jeans. They are my favorite. They are the most comfortable things. Yeah.
Turn them into art.
Dude, you're so smart. I should totally do that.
That would be cool. Hang it in your house somewhere. Now backtracking to, you were talking about like how much you were making and how you charge people. How do you figure out pricings for things being in the creative space? Because I know a lot of people, they have a hard time putting a price on their creativity because a lot of the times it can be subjective.
Right, exactly.
Do you have a method for that?
I do have a method, and it's not my own.
Okay.
There is an industry standard as far as that goes. And I am still working off the 2015 industry standard. Yes.
Gotcha.
I have not really updated my prices. But I feel like it's really hard. The tariff thing is, and I'm not trying to get political.
Yeah, here we go.
Right, yeah. But the tariff thing can be a problem. I mostly buy American made because I am a patriot, if you will. And but stuff like that, some of the bigger things do come from overseas. So the prices from even buying from American companies has gone up. So that makes my prices go up, which makes, if I keep my prices the same, that makes my bottom line go down.
Yeah.
And that stinks. But I'm also at the point where I still really, really love my job and I'm willing to just give it away.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes, a lot of times, I'm barely even breaking even when I do certain jobs.
It's kind of like, just if you can do it, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
No, I feel the same way. Like, cause I'm just starting now, like advertising that I do image consulting and I prepare people, go through their wardrobes. And the first person I did it for, I was like, I don't want any, like, don't pay me, please. Like, this is just so much fun to let me record the process. And we're going to be making that into like a little YouTube mini series of like redoing people's wardrobes. But
you should come to my house.
We can do that.
Okay.
I'll go through the painted clothes and find out which one.
But here's the thing. Before I was a painter, I was like a pretty prim and proper housewife.
Really?
Yeah. So I have like at least 30 pairs of high heels that my daughter takes them out to the light of day now. Me, not so much.
Yeah.
So
maybe that can be your brand. You painting them.
I actually used to do that.
Really?
When my first store, I could be found in heels and dresses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Then I got smart.
Now, how saturated of a market do you feel like you're in right now?
I guess it is pretty saturated. Like there's some painters who I would say I think there's only 4, maybe 5 in Erie County who professionally paint for clients.
Okay.
There's a bunch of, people who paint pieces and sell them on, Marketplace and Craigslist and stuff like that. And they're good. They're good painters. And a lot of them buy paint from me. So because I sell paint in the store and teach people how to do it. So I guess the market is saturated, but the trend is not going anywhere. The trend has been around for, I guess on the forefront for 30 years. When 30 years when Annie Sloan first came out with chalk paint. And then other paint companies seem to follow suit. So decorative painting and furniture painting is a thing. But then again, I just got a piece in the store to do for a client that is a true federal style wardrobe, and it's stunning. It's like the holy grail of pieces.
Really?
And when she sent me the picture of it, she's like, will you come pick this up and paint it for me on your timeline and do whatever you want? I love those clients. I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's like the sun just shone on it, but it's painted.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 1800s painted. So painted furniture is a thing. It's not going anywhere. But do you know what? If the trend ever does end, I know how to strip furniture, so I'll still have a job.
Yeah.
So it's good.
You got yourself covered.
Yeah. And that expanding into doing design work, and Glenn and being on the show really kind of catapulted me into boosting my confidence that I can handle and do larger projects.
Gotcha.
So I am booking those larger projects now. I'm slowly taking them on and surrounding myself with really good subcontractors and building my team that way as far as that. But as far as, painting furniture and stuff like that, I don't know if I'll ever hire anybody to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a creative outlet for you.
It is. Like
now,
2:00 in the morning, sometimes you can find me at the shop working on a spec piece versus a commission piece. Just kind of like get out my creative energy. Gotcha. I can only paint white for so long.
Now, do you ever make custom furniture that you paint, or is it all refurbishing?
I have done some custom pieces. A friend of mine from high school, she contacted me and asked me to build her a coffee table, a bar, and 2 end tables for her house. And I did, and she loves them. I've built a couple very primitive, jelly cupboards, and I actually really do enjoy building furniture.
Really?
Yes. Even putting together the pieces that you buy from the store, and it comes with all the cam screws and
the IKEAs.
Yes, I really actually enjoy putting those together as well. I like the way my dad and I always did that when I was younger. We would always be taking things apart and putting back together. So I do enjoy that, but I do enjoy the building too. I like to follow the plans, which is weird because I can't bake. I can't follow a recipe to save my life, but I can follow plans to build something.
Yeah. It all depends on how you're wired and how you because that's where you come from, so you get it.
Yeah.
But
my mom can bake. My mom's an excellent baker. It's because I guess I just don't have the patience, 2 tablespoons of salt. No, I'm just going to do a dash.
Yeah.
And then they don't rise. And just crap.
Whatever.
I can make a cheesecake, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
That and tiramisu are I think the 2 best desserts.
Do you know what tiramisu means in Italian?
I probably should, but no.
It means pick me up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a very fitting name for that.
It is. Yes.
And now I want some.
It's my favorite.
Maybe I'll have it so whenever guests come in, I'll give them some tiramisu.
Yes.
That'll be the new thing I do.
Perfect.
It's people do interviews with beer and stuff. I'll do it with desserts.
Love it.
Now with how busy you are and how the market you say is kind of saturated, and what I saw on the show is you're working a lot. How do you ever feel like burnt out, and how do you stop from like completely being shut down from like the stress of running around and doing things? And
I can say that in the entire time 920 has been open, I have not shut down from being busy. Like I've not like I've come close.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess maybe I was busy my entire life growing up. I'm an only child. My mom and dad put me in every possible activity that they could. So every night of the week I was doing something. And like, you want something done, you ask a busy person. Like that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest questions I've gotten is how did you do it all? Because I was still managing with my clients because I was booked and I was booked out. And when I got the email, like, we want you to do this, clear your schedule, I was like, I can't. So I was really trying to do everything all at once. And the kids were with me. And I think after we were done filming, I did take 2 days off. Well, I didn't even stay home. I was at the shop and I just kind of was like hiding like upstairs in a room, just kind of figuring my life out as to what had just happened. So
dang,
I needed a minute. And I think I might take a week off next week. I don't know yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still going to be working.
Yeah.
Because I have projects in my house that I need to do. My poor house has been like neglected.
That seems to be how it is.
It is. That is how it is with the life of a contractor.
People probably assume that they come into your house and everything's well decorated and painted.
No, I have nothing on my walls. I've lived in my house for 4 years and there is nothing on my walls. They're just still on the floor.
Yeah, it's like you do it all day. You don't want to come home and do it some more.
Well, it's not only that. I would have no problem coming home and still working if I didn't have the kids to contend with. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So sometimes Caden will help me with things around the house. And I like to teach them to do things too.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, rip out a backsplash at, 7 o'clock at night. I want to hang out and watch
tiramisu.
TV. I want some tiramisu. Yeah.
Now, what I was listening to the other podcast you were on, and you were saying that you had acquired a second store during the filming.
I did. Yes.
Now, so it seems like it's just your personality that keeps you from burning out.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know how I would be able to film the show. And did you do any jobs on your own during that time, and your kids, and acquiring and is it a second store for the design or?
It was a failing antique store in my town. It's been an antique store and a dress shop and a bunch of other things in Northeast for 40 years. And there's a sign in the basement that lists every store in the years they were open. And she was going to close, and I didn't want to see another vacant building in Northeast. I didn't want to see the business close because people love shopping there. I love shopping there. And I just went over one day and I decided I was going to buy it. Yeah. So
with all that free time.
Yeah. The first couple weeks, like between filming and the store, I was like, what have I done? What have I done to myself? But it's proven to be a profitable. I rebranded it.
Okay.
I'm still in the process of getting it all put together. And I feel silly, like when people walk in the beginning, because when I officially opened it, I feel silly like explaining people, I'm sorry, I'm filming a documentary right now and I'm really trying, and I'll get there. Yeah. And people were very understanding of that. But some people, you know how people are. Some people are like, but I've got the place full and it runs like a machine. My mom has finally figured out how to work everything. She will call me if I fail to have a price tag on something, which is quite often possible. I tend to do that with things I don't really want to sell.
Okay.
Yes, I have this gorgeous like mercantile cabinet that I'm working on, and I've had 2 people in the last week, like all the drawers are pulled out of it and it's half broken and I need to fix it.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, how much is that? Well, I paid $500 for it. I'm like, so it's $800 as is, $3,000 when I'm done with it. And my mom's like, are you really trying to sell? No, I priced it that high because I don't want to sell it.
I want it.
It's mine.
It's a nice thing about owning the business is you can do stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Like I have plenty of things that I will sell. But here's the thing. I don't know much about antiques. I know about antique furniture, but as far as smalls go, I tend to choose what's cool. So that's a whole new learning process for me.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that process as well. I love like anything old military, old maritime history, stuff like that. Just old industrial revolution stuff, because that is my design style, is very industrial, whether it be industrial chic, industrial glam. That's so my thing right now.
I love industrial.
Industrial farmhouse, stuff like that. Anything that I can merge with that style, I'm all in on.
You're just trying to find a way to just fit it all together.
Yeah, I don't have to find a way. I just do.
Oh, it's just natural.
That's how I am. I am definitely outside of the box. And I get told this all the time. Like, you can't do that. Don't tell me I can't do that. Figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Like, because if you won't, I will.
Yeah, don't take no for an answer.
No, I don't take no for an answer. Well, sometimes I take no for an answer. But as far as my job goes, I don't take no for an answer. If there's a will, there's a way. Like, it's not, as I said previously, it's not cookie cutter. There's no one box to be checked. There's a billion boxes that can be checked. So, and that's where the creativity comes in. You've got to think outside the box in this job.
Now, with it being all like individual, is there any sense of it that is a process for you? Like how you work through talking to a client or getting a job or finishing, or is everything brand new every time you get a job?
I think at first I didn't have a process.
Okay.
As far as meeting with clients and stuff like that. And I guess I sort of still don't. I meet with clients that are on the west side on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I meet with clients on the east side Mondays and Wednesdays. I try to accommodate my clients as best as I can with my schedule because really, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, is be accommodating for my clients. And maybe it might be a fault, but if I can't get there until 3 weeks out, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
you've got to try and become present as soon as possible.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I rarely write anything down.
Really?
Rarely. And I've only screwed up once in 4 years.
Really?
I was supposed
Holy
to be
cow.
I was supposed to be in a bathroom, and I thought it was another coach from another softball team, because I coached Little League for a little bit. And had my entire team out in Corey for a softball game when I was supposed to be in a bathroom. So that was the only time I ever screwed up.
One time in 4 years.
One time. Yeah.
That's something to brag about for sure.
Yeah.
I never write anything down, but I usually screw up a lot. That's my issue.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah. I make a lot. But
good
I'm working
recovery.
on it.
Good recovery.
That's what this is for.
See?
Trying to write. My problem is like I feel like I don't know. I feel like I slow down if I write something down. But really being able to like remember things would probably help me be a little bit quicker.
Well, here's the thing. I am like you. I have books. I can't stand writing anything in my phone. Like, I don't like to. I just learned how to use Google Calendar. I had no idea that it coincided. Like, something popped up on my phone, and I'm like, how did that even get there? I don't get it.
FBI is watching me.
Well, of course they are. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You think about something, it pops up as an ad. Yeah. I have a date book that I sit in the center console of my truck, and if I can find a pencil, I'll jot a note into it. But like, I don't know. I function on lists. I function very differently than most other people do, I suppose. Although I'm sure there's a lot of people like me out there.
Yeah.
But I cannot just sit and look at a calendar because it fluctuates and changes. And especially being a mom, because that changes daily. Like, the phone could ring right now and one of the kids might need picked up at school.
Yeah, you never know.
You just never know.
You've got to be ready to move when you need to.
In fact, that happened to me the other day. I was
really?
I was on my way to a client's house out in Fairview, and I got a call from the school that my daughter needed to be picked up, and I had to turn around, and it ruined my whole day. Not she ruined my whole day.
No, but scheduling wise, of
yes,
course.
It's the scheduling, but you have to learn to adapt. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from being a mom and running a house and running essentially 3 businesses is adapting.
Yeah. For sure. And being able to like give yourself some grace to be like, yo, it's okay if I can't get there. This comes first. I can reschedule. Now with that kind of busyness, do you ever find yourself like in like that comparison culture where you're like, this person doesn't have that problem. They can have things scheduled. They can have things booked, or their design business started after mine, but they're doing so much better than me. Do you ever feel that way? Or are you too busy to even look around?
I don't so much anymore. I have several other women in my industry locally who I look up to significantly and respect as far as what they've done with their business and how they grow. Andrea Lebowski from Andrea's Interior Design Gallery is one of those women. And she and I have become very good friends, and I admire and respect and adore her. And crap, that's something I got to write down. She's having a party that like one of those cute home parties, and she sent me a text, and I got to write it down because I told her I would come, and I will go. But as far as that, I don't know the inner workings of a lot of other people's businesses, and I really stopped caring. Okay. Because at first I did, like, you see a new painter and it hurts. And it's not so much from a business aspect, it's from a personal aspect. And I really need to sometimes learn how to separate the two. But it's really hard when it's your own business that you put so much heart into to separate that out. It feels like a personal attack when it's really not. And I just need to calm down sometimes like that. And I have. And now I just, you do you, I'll do me. Yeah. And it's fine. That's okay. There's plenty of business to go around. If there is no competition, then why are you in business to begin with?
Exactly. It doesn't keep you motivated.
Exactly.
If I'm the only one in town, no one else has anywhere to go. So I have no motivation to do good customer service. I have no motivation to be creative or innovative. So,
and like I said previously, we all have very distinct different styles of design and painting.
Yeah, in that creative space.
Yeah.
How good are you at saying no to things?
No. Terrible. I am awful.
Okay.
I am terrible with no.
Now, is that something that you see as something you want to work on, or something that you are okay with?
I feel like I try to not put myself in too many situations where I have to say no. I don't have a hard time saying no to my kids. I mean,
that's good.
But I am definitely a doormat. I am definitely a people pleaser. I guess I don't like to say no. I like to say yes. I am a yes person. But I say yes to lots of things. Like, I say yes to new challenges, and I say yes to a lot of risk. And I say yes to a lot of new things because I want to experience those things business-wise and personally. But I'm also conservative. Like, I don't know. Yeah. If somebody thinks that I'm too far one way and somebody thinks I'm too far this way, then I think I'm pretty normal because they balance each other out.
And really, what is normal to people?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, normal is just everyone's standardized version of crazy, pretty much.
Right.
Like, yes. My normal is not your normal. But I feel like I'm in the same boat where it's really, like, obviously if I have a scheduling conflict, like, I'm not going to say yes to this and then yes to somebody at the same time because just I can't do it. But I do have a hard time saying no. But what I've been thinking more recently about it is that really a problem? You know what I mean? Because obviously if you have a well-established business and your time is super valuable, you need to be able to say no because you can waste your time a lot. Right. But to me, it's like if you're willing to like take the failure of, not even failure, but saying no later on down the process because you know you can't take it, I would rather have that than saying no to something up front that could have been a good opportunity.
Right.
And I kind of look at it like, and I want to talk about how you got into the show, but if you were more of a no person, the show might not have been, or
What
you
it
get,
was.
yeah, and you might not have thought it was a good use of your time because of all the clients you had and all the things you had to do. But the fact that you were able to say, yeah, I want to be able, I don't know how that all worked or what it was like you getting a part of it, but being able to say yes at first, and then if you need to back out, I think is so much more valuable in business than just saying no from the get-go.
Right.
Unless it's a terrible idea.
Right.
You have to have that kind of
Well,
common
even
sense.
if it is a terrible idea, just count me in.
But how was the process of how did you get onto the show?
So,
Alrighty, and as always, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thanks so much to Dawn from 920 Design. It was an amazing podcast. I mean, she went from going to be an FBI agent to home design furniture painter. I mean, how much more of a life change can that be? Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. It was so much fun for me to create, and I met her during the podcast, so I've only known her for about an hour and a half, and just the amount of positive energy and the vibes that you get from her is so amazing. If you need any design work, want to get in touch with the Underdog Business Scholarship Foundation, whatever that is, you should probably look that up. Please get in touch with her. Amazing person just to sit down and talk with, guys. Again, thank you for watching. And if you do like this podcast, or even if you don't, I guess, but don't write a comment if you don't. Write a comment. Please let me know how this is doing. The currency on podcast is the reviews. That way I know what to do better, what to make more of, and just how to make you guys happier. So thanks for watching. This is Louis Geramita from Aspiring for More, and I will see you in the next episode.